Today's guest is Gail Scott. Gail has been an entrepreneur in the beauty business for 27 years. She helps women get out the door in the morning feeling confident, but with less time, money, and frustration. Hundreds of women have been coached and mentored in the business by Gail, and she loves helping others to succeed. In this season of midlife, she has found a new way to serve women. Midlife Moxie was recently birthed as a community and a podcast and is committed to helping women make midlife one of the best seasons of their lives. Gail resides in beautiful South Carolina, but works with women all over the country. Welcome back, Gail.
Well, hi, Kelly. I'm so glad to be back with you.
I'm so thrilled to have you, and I'm so excited to continue our conversation about showing up and being our best selves, especially as it relates to this whole new process that we are all going through, which is showing up on camera.
It is so important. And so many people are struggling with this. They're really insecure about the camera. And especially for us middle-aged women, we are well aware that we are no longer 17 and we might have a little extra chin or a wrinkle there and just aren't familiar with this kind of technology. Our kids have grown up, these millennials, they've grown up on camera, they've grown up taking selfies, they've grown up on Snapchat. We did not. We got our camera. Our picture was made by Kodak that you got developed, and you saw it a few weeks later. So you got what you got. There's no tweaking it. But this
Right?
instant, it's immediate feedback. But there's also immediately things you can do to make it awesome.
I love it. This is going to be such a great conversation. I can't even begin to describe it because I'm just going to come right out and say we all need help. Um,
Amen.
this is a new frontier for so many of us. And, the first few times that I showed up on camera as a guest, not as a presenter, I had, pushed myself. I'd gotten the hair, the makeup, all the stuff. I got on camera. I looked at myself and I was like, I look like I did nothing, absolutely nothing to pull myself together. And we
It's
talked
different,
last
Helen.
time about this is your business card. This is showing up and for networking. This is how you present yourself. So it's kind of challenging to go through all that effort and then realize that you're not, uh,
Not.
yeah,
I think when we put forth effort, we always want to get a payoff, right? And that's part of what I do with teaching women about their makeup. If you're going to put it on, we want to get it on right. We want the right colors, but there's some special tricks and things that we have to consider when we go on camera. And you may be a person that doesn't like to wear a lot of makeup, but when you show up on camera without makeup, you're going to look DEAD dead. And I know so many of you are insecure about your appearance and you might be insecure about the camera, but y'all, it is what it is. This is here to stay, even post COVID. We're in the era of the Jetsons. Remember that video call we always wanted? Well, we got it. So let's make the best of it because even if you're just getting on with your grandkids or your family, you don't want to look dead. And there's so many things that are skills to learn. It's not about you being the prettiest girl in the room. It's that these are skills, these are choices, and we can all make them. So let's talk about that makeup, Kelly. I'm going to just say more is better. This is a situation where a little more is typically better, especially when it comes to your eyes and your lips. I mean, I want to pay particular close, attention to things involving what we call symmetry and balance on the face, because when someone is staring at you, those are things that are going to jump out. And scientific studies show that, we're attracted to things like symmetry. Now, I want you to remember this. If you're a person who's used to doing speaking and you say, oh, I speak in rooms, hotel rooms, 500 people all the time, great. Those people are looking at you from a distance and they're looking at you full on. So the thing here is this is all they're getting. So they've got 20, 30 minutes, an hour to just pick apart all of this. And I don't want that to make you insecure. I just want you to be aware that is a different kind of focus than when you were speaking live to a room of 100. So I'm sure you found that to be true, Kelly.
Absolutely. And I just want to ask you a question. I absolutely agree with the emphasis on the eyes, the lips, and all of that. Um, in real life, when I put too much emphasis on all this, I look like I should be walking the streets. It does not work, but I have to be more intense when just this.
Yeah,
In real life, this cheek color that I have is strong. It's kind of overpowering, but it doesn't really show that way on camera. But the question underlying all of this is, your makeup look and my makeup look are quite different. I do believe that I could stand to upgrade my look a little bit more for the camera. But do I need full on makeup with false eyelashes and all of that, or can I go with a little bit more what my normal look would be?
well, this is not about you looking necessarily completely different than you do in your daily life. It's really almost bringing you to how you look in real life. And that, think about it. You're on a camera, which sometimes you get graininess, you get resolution issues. You're also usually dealing with lighting. A lot of us use ring lights, and those are great. And we can talk a little bit about those if you want to. But those can wash you out a little bit. It's just like one of my friends is a morning news anchor, and her makeup that she does for that high def camera is different than what she does in real life. So here's some things to do and not do. Yes, lashes are great. I'm wearing a false lash, and see, it doesn't even look like a false lash, but that gives you lift and impact. Now, as far as what you were talking about, when you normally play up your eyes and lips, you look like a clown. We're not talking about adding a lot of wild color here. Sometimes we're just talking about the depth of the color or the intensity of the application, and little things like a little more eyeliner, a little lip liner that you may be skipping. Also, things that really help that balance and symmetry, which can be things like your brows. If your brows aren't on point and someone is just looking you straight on for 30 minutes, it's going to become distracting. And that's what this is about as much as anything. We don't want anything that distracts from our message. We want to bring the audience to us, not have them want to look away. And here's the thing you got to remember. When someone sees us in real life, they're seeing us in 360, dimensions 3D. They're looking front, side, backward. Someone is looking at you as a flat image. And when we talk about that, sometimes we have to exacerbate our contours with things like a contour color through here, more lash, a heavier brow, to create the same contours aesthetically wise, like visually, that someone would perceive in public, because we're not getting that same depth perception when it's just a flat screen. Does that make sense, Kelly?
It not only makes sense, it's like, uh, I knew that using a little bit more contour, a little bit more highlight makes sense. In fact, again, when I come on camera for this, it's the whole enchilada, right? I'm doing all those things, which I do not do in my daily life. But describing it as you're trying to create con, a 3D
Dimension.
image from a 2D image, that makes absolute sense to me. So yeah, I love that. Now it's like, okay, I understand more why
Yeah, if you understand the thing behind something, I think, the justifications, the rationale, I think it helps you to remember it and be more excited about it. Here's some good news though, Kelly. Because we are working with a flat image, sometimes, we might get a little pimple, and sometimes those can be raised. On camera, that raised part usually does not show up unless you turn your head to the side. So if I'm looking you dead on, I could have a Mount Vesuvius on my cheek. Concealers and makeup can cover up the redness, but that height that it's coming with, that little bit of volume, that a lot of times will not show on camera. Whereas if you were here with me in real life, you would notice it. So there's some good news about all this. And then, of course, we have some filters to help us along the way. Something else I want to point out is you may want to tone down a little bit of the shimmer and highlight, because when you are using lighting, you can get a bounce back. So where it's very common for women to highlight the center of their face, maybe down their nose, maybe here, that can bounce off. And you want to be very conscientious about that. Now, where we would like it to bounce off a little bit might be the center of our lips. So if you look at the center of my lip today, Kelly, you're going to notice there's a little bit of a highlight there. That's a gloss I put right in the middle. And little details like that just can be more pleasing. They're going to catch the light in the right way. So is that helpful to you? Oh, I suddenly can't hear you. Yeah, there you are.
Okay. My dog was barking in the background, and so I muted myself and then forgot to take off mute. But yes, that absolutely helps. I love that idea, creating the glow around your lips, because you do want people to pay attention to what you're saying. You want people to look you in the eyes so that they relate to you, so that so absolutely, it makes perfect sense.
I've got two other little tips about that really don't involve makeup, but they do involve your cosmetic appearance. And one is whiten those teeth, guys. Go over, if you can't do professional whitening, get you some Colgate Crest white strips, whatever they are, stick them on. They can make a huge difference. And when you're on camera, remember, they're looking just right here. That's going to make a big difference when someone's watching your mouth. And I'm a big fan of Lumify eye drops. I was just at my optometrist this morning, and I asked him to make sure those were not harming my eyes, because, sometimes we can get carried away with vanity. And he said, no, they're actually better than using something like Visine. They're a little more expensive. They come in a little purple white bottle, but they're called Lumify. And I forgot to use them today, so don't judge me. But they will make the whites of your eyes wider and help with any, like if you're bloodshot or you're fatigued, or you just are one of those people like, I just have veiny eyes. I got it from my mom. But that bright-eyed, bright smile is super attractive on camera and really makes you look awake and on point and energetic.
Yeah, you told me about the tip about the Lumify drops, and I did a little of my own research on it. And the other eye drops tend to have a bounce back effect where your eyes get redder or more swollen if you use them too much, things like that. And the Lumify apparently doesn't make that happen, which that was exciting for me. So
yeah, they are a fantastic product. So
yeah, I love that. And absolutely on the teeth whitening as well. It does make a difference.
now let's talk about that hair a little bit, Kelly, because hair does frame our face and it can help with contouring. Like if you've got a very large forehead, some bangs can help. But if you need a little help with your hair, here's the cool thing. Nobody is seeing the back. And I have loved that. Like there are times I've got on camera and I had like something in the back of my hair to bump it up to give me a little more height on top. I've had my hair pulled up on top of my head and I had things in the back holding it up there where I wanted it. And nobody knew. I would never do that in real life. But then the camera can also be our friend as much as our enemy. So there's some cool things you can do with that. I do like a lot of times a little bit of framing here. I will pull my, I will make sure now fuzziness. Now it's raining here today, so I'm a little fuzzier than I want to be, but controlling frizz is helpful because like you've got a hair sticking out like that. See that? It's distracting. I don't mean to be distracting you guys, but it can be very distracting. So think about what your hair looks like straight on. And that can be very different than what it looks like in 3 dimensions. So check that out.
Oh, you mentioned something before about your hair color and the clothes that you are wearing, making sure you actually have some differentiation.
Some contrast. Yeah, this is a big thing because I obviously have very dark hair. And if I get up against a black background, I'm just going to meld into it. So you want to put yourself in clothing and up against backgrounds, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that are going to work. because if I had on a black top, my hair can sometimes blend into the top. So if I'm really wanting to wear a black top, I would most likely put my hair up so that there's some skin showing. Now, we ready to go ahead and talk about clothing a little bit, Kelly? Because I definitely have some things to share on that.
Yes, let's go for it.
Okay. I had a friend get on one day and she had on a strapless top. And y'all, where the camera hit across her, she looked nude. And she wasn't, but she forgot the camera was cutting her clothing out, and all I could see was skin. I think a lot of skin can be distracting, so we want to be very aware of our necklines that we choose. I think something a little higher neckline is better on camera. I like also something that has some interest or detail. Like if you notice my shoulders have a little bit of, look, get the right one, a little bit of poof to them. That's a little bit of detail so that this is just not flat. Even if your collar has a ruffle or a little bow that's very these tie around the neck, things are really cute. I just think too much skin is distracting and it doesn't create interest. We have an opportunity here to surround our face with a color that we look great in. Now, it's no accident you have on that beautiful blue top, Kelly. It makes your eyes really pop. And it's aesthetically pleasing. Now, I do prefer to stick with solids or simple patterns. I might do a little polka dot or a stripe, but loud florals are not usually my choice for on camera. Now, if you're in certain types of businesses, that may be totally appropriate. I mean, if you have a snow cone business, you may be on camera in a Hawaiian shirt. But for most of us, when we're just talking business, solids do work a little better and they're a little less distracting, and it's easier because you do not have as much to worry about. Because besides what goes on our body, we've got to pay attention to what's behind us. What you see behind me did not just happen. It's not an accident that my office walls are white. It's not an accident that I have that picture there. And if you could see, I've actually got a door to one side and a window to the other, but those are, you can barely see my draperies there. Those are cut out of the frame. And, there's good news and bad news. First of all, we can see what's behind you. We can see it, ladies and gentlemen. The good news, though, is we can cut out a lot of what we don't want people to see. Like my desk is a wreck right now, but that's all cut out of the frame. But pictures, again, solid behind you. You want it to be lit up enough that it doesn't look like a dark hole behind you, but you're not lighting yourself from behind. You just want some ambient lighting that, because I've seen people, their faces are lit up and it looks like you go into the vortex behind them. I've also seen people make a lot of mistakes, Kelly. They leave drawers open, closet doors open. They don't close the blinds. Like I've got my blinds closed on this window beside me so that I'm not unevenly lit. And they're not considering how the whole thing looks together. You've got to consider your facial makeup and coloring, your hair color, your outfit, and the background. When they work together, it's going to be a very pleasing image. I mean, I like to think what you're looking at on me is soft on the eye and not distracting. I hope you would agree.
Absolutely. And you personify your style, your brand, who you are. Everything comes across in the video without the distractions that would cause people to, lose their attention on you, which is the message that you're trying to you and the message that you're trying to get across.
And there's some easy ways if your background's not what you want it to be. There's some easy fixes for that, Kelly. Now, I'm going to say I do not love bedrooms. I see people come on camera in a bedroom, and y'all, would you have a business meeting in your bedroom? If you're doing Zoom from your bedroom, you're having a business meeting in your bedroom. It's a little weird. But I have a friend who came up with this ingenious idea. I can take no credit for it. But she got one of those very expensive rolling things that you can hang clothing on like it's drying in your laundry room. They're very cheap. And she took and put some shower curtains and tablecloths, and she just bunches them up across that. And when she's ready to record, she just pulls across the color that she wants. And, of course, she picks colors that look great behind her. So it's a very inexpensive fix if you don't have a background that's really working for you. Now, we do have the virtual backgrounds. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan because that can be kind of wonky. And if you're one that moves, you're going to get that disparity between you and the background. But that was just an easy fix. So, like, if I needed to fix this wall behind me, I could even take a piece of fabric, a tablecloth, and some thumbtacks and pin it up behind me, and you would not know. You would just think that was a draping of some kind. So don't get nervous if you're like, well, I can't repaint my whole office. I can't. You can do some things that work. Also, walk around your house and look for spots that would work. Plain walls behind you, places that you can get good lighting at different times of the day, because that can vary. And, just be conscientious is the thing, Kelly. I think if we just know what to look for and we have an awareness, we're going to do better.
Absolutely. And I'm going to throw something in there. If you're doing a live or something like that, it pays to get yourself on camera before you go live. Sit down and just look at your background.
I think look at everything, Kelly. And what I have done before is, we all have a trusted girlfriend. Get on a Zoom with a girlfriend with the same lighting, the outfit, and let her make adjust. Do you need to be closer? Do you need to be further away? Is there something you can see in the picture that she's not noticing? Is the lighting off? Because the lighting may look good on your end, but it's what really matters is how it looks on the recipient end of that camera. And you're exactly right. I come down and I check my makeup. It's kind of like, when you leave your house, what does every woman do when she gets in the car? She grabs that rearview mirror and gives it a real check in sunlight. Get in front of your camera before it's time to go on, because you can turn your camera on where you can see, but it's not recording yet, or you're not live, and see what it looks like. And sometimes you'll be like, oh my goodness, I missed a spot, or I see something. And go ahead and fix it then so you don't get embarrassed. So absolutely. But getting online on whatever platform you're using with a girlfriend can really fix a lot. And once you learn your lighting, your angles, that becomes a very quick thing to do each time you go on camera, because I just always come on camera in the same place. I know how to set my ring light, I know where to set it, and it makes it very, very easy.
Yeah, it does become much easier. I know when I come into my office, I turn on my lights, my overhead lighting, and I'm good to go. I will say that I made a change to some of my lights, and interestingly, instead of having more of a warm glow daylight, I now have a blue uh, cast to all of my lighting, which wasn't, and I do use filters, but I know I need an upgrade there because my lighting has changed. So it's also a process that you want to go through. It's not necessarily just a one and done. If one thing changes, you may have to make adjustments in other areas.
Absolutely. And for times of the day, there's times I need more ring light, less ring light. I need a little bit different angle. And here's the thing, Kelly. If someone does not, they're probably going, well, I don't know how to do my eyebrows better and make them match. I don't know how to pick out the right clothing colors. Help is available. I can help you with most of that, and those are services I offer my clients. And you don't have to struggle. You do not have to struggle through this. The good thing about the world today and the internet is there's an expert on about anything, and they're easily accessible through the World Wide Web. They're a phone call away. So we can really get help with these. And if it's something I can't help you with, I work with some stylists that can give you help in building a wardrobe. And I'll be honest, my COVID wardrobe has been very different than my normative wardrobe, because I bought almost all tops. But when I'm buying them, I'm also buying them through the lens of how they look on camera. Because a good example is I have one cute little sweater I bought. Oh, Kelly, it's so cute. It's a cream color, and it's got these little sequin polka dots. But guess what? When I got on Zoom, all the polka dots were down here. I could not see them. So that was kind of wasteful. I'll wear it out in public, but you really, if you're doing a lot of business things on Zoom, if you're appearing on camera, you've got to make that choice when you're in the store of how that's going to look on camera, not just when you get it home. And those embellishments, like we said, around the top, colors that stand out on you. But colors, sometimes we don't want a neon color that would harm someone's eyes or look unprofessional. We want colors that are aesthetically pleasing. And then jewelry. Like if I don't have an embellishment up here, I might put on a chunkier necklace. Now, I know really popular these days are layered necklaces, but pay attention to the proportion. Are they big enough? Do they have presence, or do they look like something that's just wadded up in the fold of your neck? That's not going to be attractive. People are going to be saying, what's in her neck? And depending on how I wear my hair, I may wear my hair up and wear larger earrings and not wear any necklace. But we want to avoid, like, since it's not on camera with our arms usually, avoid those clanky bracelets. You don't see my arms. It doesn't matter what's on my arms. And if I had on clanky bracelets right now, that would be distracting to the feed and the sound quality. So just run everything you're doing through that lens of how does this look in this little 12-foot square we're working in.
I love that. I was going to mention the same thing with the layered necklaces. But yes, anything where you're creating sound is going to turn up on your microphone feed, and that's extremely distracting. And then you have your audience trying to identify where that sound came from. What is that? Yeah. So,
I'll tell you something else, Kelly, when it comes to choosing color. If you're the speaker, you have a lot of latitude. But if I'm going to be on a panel where there may be 10 or 12 pictures on the screen, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I pick something like this green, so I'll be remembered. People will say, oh, she was the one in that green, because not a lot of people have this color blouse. So I might pick something that is a little different or has a really cute detail, and they'll say, oh, she had that little bow around her neck. Remember her? Because sometimes people are, remembering your names in this virtual environment is difficult. People will remember what they see visually. So having something that can, we don't want to stand out like a sore thumb. We don't want to be distracting, but having something that is slightly remarkable about you can go a long way in people remembering you when you're in a group setting.
I love that tip because, again, just reiterating what you just said, when there's a panel, everything blends together. All of a sudden, the big square that people are seeing you on has diminished, and you're the size of a postage stamp. So having something that brings you to the forefront makes a big difference in your visibility.
You know where else that really shows up, Kelly, is your headshot and these little avatars we use. And I see some that are disastrous. And I'm here to tell you, it's just like this comparison to video in real life. Headshots that are for those little tiny bubbles are very different than a headshot that may get you from the waist up or maybe in a different setting. If someone is just looking at that tiny little bubble, you've got to make that bubble pay off. I think eye contact is really important, and that's the same for video. Find out where you need to look on your screen to make it look like you're looking to your audience. But in a photo, when you look at someone dead on, or even if your face is turned but your eyes are dead on, I think that exudes confidence and trust. And in these formats, we're all trying to grow our like, know, and trust factors. I also think a lot of the same things apply. A good frame around the face, probably a little more eye makeup. A false lash is always great in photos and video. A little bit stronger lip color, definitely a lip liner, making sure your foundation is giving you a flawless finish but is not too shiny. Hold down on the highlighter, but also just get in front of that camera, because I can move my face half an inch and it make a difference in how many chins I look like I have, or just half an inch to the side can make a difference in how your eyes look. Really practice and try to bring things up higher into that, with those little cutouts, you're going to have to get a blouse come up pretty high if it's going to show. But you can also bring something else in, like an earring, or I might be holding a makeup brush. You can do a lot of things to bring that photo to life. Here's the thing, y'all. In this environment, whether you're on Instagram, Clubhouse, any of these, a lot of times people it's a split second if they decide if they're going to click on your photo or not. So that little round real estate of goodness has to be spot on. But here's the thing that I'm seeing that really bothers me. Some of you, I have clicked on your photos and I've went to Instagram and I've looked you up to see what you're about, to see if you might be a fit for my podcast or something. And I look at you and what you put on Instagram and I don't know if you're the same person. So that's not the kind of photo we're looking for. I do not like the cartoon avatars at all. That tells me you're hiding something or you don't have confidence. But if you're using a picture that is so doctored and so perfected that I can't tell for sure if that's you or not, then we just destroyed trust. So don't take it that far. People want to see you, and they want to see a little bit of your personality. Like a lot of times my headshot will be me pointing my eyes or me singing, that's one of my common ones, but that's who I am. So you definitely can show personality, but just avoid creating some masterpiece that no one would know is you.
So what you're telling me is this is kind of like your dating profile and picture, right?
Fishing in business.
Yeah.
But it is your business card. But
Yeah.
when we were in public and we were handing people real business cards, we did not hand them a picture, right in front of us that the picture on that card looked really different from what they're seeing up here. But people are doing that on social media because we have so many opportunities to tweak those pictures. Some of us are just taking it too far. It's just taking it way too far.
Yeah. So be authentic, be your real self. Um, and don't put your high school picture up if
And think about your brand.
oh
What
yeah.
is important for your brand? If you're an accountant, you're probably going to look like I have a friend who does website design, so she's in a really professional space, artistic to an extent, but the people she works with are business owners. So the picture she uses is a leaned in, hand on her, looking at you dead in the camera, kind of serious picture, but it tells me she's all about business. Where I have another friend who's a fashion stylist and she's jumping up in the air, and I have exercise people who are appearing in their exercise wear. That's okay if that's your brand. And so, find a way to show your brand in that tiny little circle, but use the circle to its best advantage. Get close up. Don't try to, usually, unless it's part of your brand, don't show your whole body. Some people need to because their brand, don't get me wrong, but if that's not the brand, get up in that face close and connect with people with your eyes and your smile.
And you mentioned before about headshots. When you talk about headshots for social media, for your little icon or avatar, you don't have to have a professional headshot to make that happen, right? You can use your phone.
Correct.
You can
People
have
will
a
tell you do, and that's great. If you can afford it, get a professional. But I've had some professional photos made that I thought, that does not even look like me. That is not what I'm trying to portray. So really vet your photographer, look at her other work, interview her, make sure she's clear on what kind of look you're wanting, because photos can vary so greatly, and there's a lot of very talented creative photographers out there, but you got to find the one that's going to give you the kind of image you're looking for, and those can vary widely. But y'all, these iPhones, man, that portrait setting, it does the thing. And if the thing with the camera is just like anything else, you just got to do a lot to get it right. And if you can get, a lot of our ring lights now come with like what I call a clicker or a remote. Put your camera in your ring light, get in front of it, and literally barely move your head. Smile really big, mid, down. Do all the things. And if you do that enough, you're going to find a picture that's a winner. And sometimes I'm surprised at what the winner is. It's not the one I expected. But I'll find a winner if I take maybe 20 or 25 photos. And nobody knows you took 25 photos. Everybody thinks you're just fabulous.
we all are fabulous, aren't we?
You are. Look at the picture. It tells you I'm fabulous.
Exactly. I love that idea. I love being able to set my phone up on a tripod and then just work it, the magic until
Be
you,
the supermodel.
yeah.
Be that supermodel you always want to be. I also want to mention too, Kelly, there needs to be some strain of connectivity or an ability to identify you across platforms, because some people will put one picture on one platform and another picture on another, and that's perfectly fine. Do that. But it needs to again be, I need to be able to recognize you, or I may think I have the wrong person. Because when we see a picture somewhere, we hear someone speak, if we go to any of their social medias and we're not sure that's the person, anything that creates a seed of mistrust or doubt or concern or confusion, you can lose a customer because they'll say, "Oh, I'm not even sure that's the right person. I'm just not going to fool with this." Or maybe she's not honest about who she wrote, or maybe she doesn't look like I think. Any of those things that can plant mistrust can cause a problem with a new customer following through with clicking the button to do business with you.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. You could have 5 different poses, but if you've got that same bright green, uh, shirt on in each of those avatars, you you made a connection between one to the next to the next. So that's one, I mean, that's
Just make sure they can recognize you. And I know this sounds, people are going, they can't recognize you. I'm like, if you could see what I see, that I'll go from one social media platform to another and I'm not sure it's the same person. And anytime you're not sure, you're not going to act to create a business relationship with that person.
yeah, I love that advice. I think that's great because again, I love you're absolutely right. It goes to trust. If you are like, "Eh," no matter what the hesitation is, you've created some sort of doubt in your potential client's mind.
If
And
they're doubtful, they're confused, they're not sure, they do nothing. Now, here's another quick tip on that, though, Kelly, is once you get a good photo, you can change the background. You can use these background eliminators and put any color behind you. And so, depending on the size of the little headshot square or circle, you may want to play with that. Like if you go to some of my social media, I've actually got a little circle drawn around the outside. It's drawn in pink, and I use that because my picture, I was wearing a black and white top, and that brought in a little color. Plus, when I'm in something like a clubhouse room and it's a big panel, people are like, "Oh, she's the one with the pink circle around her face." So it's a way that people who are in that group can identify me in the real time, but also can identify me later. But there's other applications where I don't need the pink circle. So when you get in your editing apps like Canva, you can change a lot of things, and you can change up that photo, maybe look a little different for LinkedIn than it looks on a more creative page or creative platform. So you're not stuck with that. And I've been very surprised sometimes at what colors look best behind me, behind friends, and what really makes you stand out on camera. So that's something you just play with till you're like, wow, that one really pops. And that's what we're looking for in those headshots, is a pop.
yeah, I love the tip of the background remover because that's something that was new to me. I just learned about it a few months ago, and I thought, you know what? I have some candid shots of myself that are great, but the backgrounds or other things that I'm dealing with are not great. And it just gave me an opportunity to be able to use those shots in different ways because I could remove the background. I could remove what the distraction was and create my own uh, reality, my own headshot. Or
Especially in places where the smaller it is, the more impactful that entire circle or little whatever shape it is has to be. So like on Clubhouse, just putting a bold color behind you can make your picture totally stand out in a different way than even if the background was white, or if it was just a neutral situation like outdoors. You may come in with a bold goldenrod yellow because that is a platform that you want to be seen and remembered. So changing the same picture up with just backgrounds is an amazing tool to use across your social media, and still use that one great shot you got.
wow. So I gotta say, I need a consultation.
I'm here, girl. I'm here.
Yeah, we think, okay, I knew starting out that I needed an upgrade. I actually know still that I have room for improvement, But just this conversation today, I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to take a few notes.
Kelly, I think it's good you brought that up because, first of all, COVID has wrecked us all. I mean, who is really going to say, oh, I am my best coming out of COVID if we ever get out of it? And, there's been some interesting things that have happened. Some of us have gained weight, some of us have decided to go gray, some of us just haven't even analyzed the situation in a while, and some of us are just ready for a new look. So I think it's a great time for women to kind of take stock, go through your closet, do a clean out, go through your makeup bag, do a clean out, pick up some new things that work for this part of your life right now. So I love too that, you and I've gotten together once, but like you said, I need a little more help. That's the way this works. It's a process and you learn. It's just like when you joined social media, the first thing you did was probably a dorky picture, and then you start doing reels, and then you're doing IG lives, and it's a process and you will get better and better, but we can't learn everything at once. We can't absorb everything at once, and we can't put everything into action. But again, getting with professionals, getting with teachers who are here to help you, here to be your consultant. Like, I'm going to hold your hand along the way. We'll do something, we'll learn a little bit, we'll come back and learn a little bit more. And it's my joy and pleasure to watch you go through that process.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And you are always so generous with, I mean, just this conversation today, every minute of this interview has been full of actionable tips. And I know that that's just scratching the surface of what you have to offer. So it's just constantly amazing to me. You're just a font of fabulous tips.
I'm a big advocate of what you learn, you pass it on. And I can say during COVID has been a big learning time for me. I've taken on some new things like the podcast. I've got more active on social media, part by desire, part by requirement, to survive this period, because I was in a person-to-person business prior to COVID. And now that we've become more virtual, I don't see us going backwards. I think a lot of things have changed for a lot of us, and we've all learned a lot this year. And I think especially with us girlfriends, when we all share what we know, we're all better because of it. And it saves us a lot of time and energy of going and learning things the hard way. Boy, have I learned some things the hard way.
Absolutely. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much for everything you've been doing. This is not the last you're going to see of Gail. We are going to bring her back in a few weeks to share some more knowledge. She's promised to come back and spend some more time with us, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, if they want to connect with you, see your Instagram, learn what you teach on a daily or weekly basis, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, Kelly, first of all, thank you for having me. I always love being in your space. We have such great conversations, and we just have a similar mindset. We're growing women here and growing women in business. It's both of our, our heart and our desires, and love working with you. So that's first off. But to find me, there's a couple of different ways, actually several. Instagram is probably the best, and it is Gail, Gails Scott. Somebody had already taken it without the extra S, so that's my middle initial. So Gail at Gail S. Scott. I'd love for you to follow. I do put out a lot of tips there. I talk a lot about fashion, midlife, beauty. I really try to have a lot of fun with that, but I'd love to connect with you there. Also, when you get there, Kelly, if your audience here will DM me the word beauty, Beauty, just DM me that word, I will connect with you and get you a free pampering packet that's customized based on your coloring and your desires, what you're trying to do. And then I'll offer you a free follow-up consultation to kind of help you learn how to do your skincare and makeup in a way that's going to bring out the best you. I'd also love for you to tune into our new podcast, Midlife Moxie. We're about to drop our first episode. We just recorded it this week, and it's in editing right now. Super excited. So if you're in that midlife space, we're all about helping midlife women make this one of the best seasons of their lives. And it's a community, it's a project, and something we're really excited about and really proud of at the same time. And so those are the best ways to reach me.
That's fabulous. Thank you again so very much. And we will be talking to you again soon.
Yes, you will, Kelly. Thanks
Uh,
so much.
okay.